every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the amazing Clint Carter. Clint, thank you so much for saying yes and being here with us. And, to kick us off, we always ask, we go through our lives and there are lessons we learn. There are pieces of wisdom people share with us, even books we read or things we see online that kind of sit with us. And those pieces of knowledge kind of get applied to our life. So, Clint, to get us kicked off today, we'd love to hear, what is a piece of wisdom that you have learned that you'd like to share with all of us?
So I have maybe two. So for work and being in my new position, I will say the one thing that you got to get yourself out there and do is just meet people. Don't be afraid. It doesn't matter what kind of event or anything like that. And just show people that you're a real people person and that you strive on customer service and, going above and beyond for anybody. And communication is one of the biggest things. So I say just, always reach out, always let your people know what's going on. If somebody's referred you, be kind and always get back to the refer. But the better you work with people, the more better you're going to be off. And for the personal touch, I guess, I've kind of always lived by this rule in my head. It's I say we have 5 fingers and 5 toes for 5 reasons. So if you're ever at like the pearly gates of heaven and God or Allah or Buddha, whatever you believe in, said you could bring 5 people, do you know what 5 you would bring? And I say this because they don't have to be family members or children or whatever. It can be honestly the 5 that whoever you want, and that is your family. And when you have those 5, what's nice about it is you'll never be alone. You have people that respect and trust you just like they respect and trust you, and you can love them unconditionally. And going through that and having those 5, it's actually very nice because knowing that you'll never be alone, if you have any negativity that comes into your life, it's much more easy to disperse of it because you have the 5 that matter. And I do to say this, try not to have more than 5. And the reason why is because if you go over 5, you're actually stretching yourself out. And the more people you have of that, you can't tend to your 5 the way you need to. So,
wow. Yeah. All right. Well, you get me a lot there. Okay. I love it. And let's start back at the beginning.
Okay, cool.
So the very first thing was make sure you're putting yourself out there. Whether you're putting yourself out there virtually, whether you're putting yourself out there physically, whether in every way. And one thing that I want to add on to that you said about that is so many times, right? I see, especially in the mortgage industry, I see people kind of almost rate people. Let's just call it like a rating. Like this person has these credentials, or this person has this network. So this person is weighted average of a 9, right? But this person maybe is newer to the industry. So maybe their weighted average is only a 4. But the thing is you have no idea if that 4 is going to turn into a 15, or if that 9 is not going to give you the time of day and turns into the 4. So I want your thoughts on that, because sometimes we go into things thinking that this might not be worth it, or this person may not be at the level that you're thinking, but that's the wrong thinking, because you don't know where the opportunities will be, whether it's the 9 or whether it's the 4. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think for myself, I mean, I'm new to the whole thing, so I would kind of rate myself, to be honest, as like a 2, and that's just because I feel like I'm dumb in the whole area. I would say, the only way you're going to know is by experience, and a lot of it's going to follow you. So the same thing, if you provide the kind of service that you would expect, you're going to turn into the 9. And as long as you're always doing or the 15, you're always going to achieve your goals. I think what some people get stuck on is they end up getting such a big head that they're like, oh, I don't need it, or I'm not going to deal with the small stuff. And my thing is it doesn't matter if somebody's got $1 million or $1,000. You treat everybody as equals, and the reason why is you never know if the person with only $1,000 actually knows somebody that has $1 million. And yeah, this is so. I guess just treat everybody as equals and just stick with it because it does pay off. It really does.
Yeah, it's a lot of planting seeds, like you
It
said,
is
right? It's a lot
a
of
ton.
planting seed, and you do not know. So don't go in closed-minded.
No.
And honestly, Clint, you have an advantage. And you want to know what your advantage is that
Huh.
you don't have any judgment. You're going in very open-minded, and you're like,
Yes.
I'm just going to get in there and do the work. I'm just going to get in there. I'm going to network. I'm going to answer everybody's question. I'm going to over communicate. The problem sometimes with us, the longer we've been doing something, is we start to slip away from those foundational basic things that you're mentioning, and you can't. Like the best
Yes.
advice for everyone listening out there is whether you're 2 days in the industry or you're 20 years in the industry, we have to continue to over communicate, treat everyone at the highest level, whether it's 1,000 or 1,000,000, like you said, and
Yes.
treat them the same way we would want to be treated if it was us or our mother or our kids going through the process, right?
Yeah. Very true.
Exactly. All right,
Very true.
now I need to dive into the 5 people. Okay. So Clint gave all of us one part from the business side, and then he went philosophical. Now then he went into this whole philosophical, really, I gotta think about this, right?
Yeah.
Because what I'm picturing as you're speaking to this, and you are correct, right? If we have let's just say we have a garden, right? So we have our garden, and that garden is those 5. And we can pour into, right? We can plant the food to make it
Hmm.
strong, and we can water it to have it grow. We can put the sunlight on it and we can give it a hug, right? We can embrace it. But as
Yes.
you start going from 5 to 15 to 20 to 30, you can't do that anymore because there just isn't enough time to nurture and really watch over, right? So my biggest question about the 5 is
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming you got to prune sometimes that the 5 changes, right?
It does.
Okay, so
Yes. It really
speak
does.
about that.
So the reason it changes is because there are different people that come in and out of our lives, and sometimes people, that have been like one of the 5 before, they go on with their life, and they kind of find the 5, and they might replace you, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that a lot of this is how we spread love throughout the world, is because as long as you're always dedicating yourself to your 5, and you have taught them and kind of coached them on how to look at things in a different perspective and to love life, to just have trust. I think that's one of the main factors a lot of people have nowadays is they don't trust anybody. And my thing is you always go into a relationship with trust until they've broken it. And then at that point, you have the decision to either get it out or keep it. But for me, yes, I get it out. And the only reason, again, is because I don't need that kind of 5 in my life. The people that are part of my 5, they add my energy. They, every morning I explain to my wife, I wake up in the morning and I have a ball of energy. And then throughout the day, I give little disbursements out to people, whether it's a hug, a warm embrace, or just a compliment, or just even a smile, just something to get people's minds off of the negativity for a moment. And as you do that, you tend to just enjoy life a lot better. Now, occasionally you get that one jerk, that wants to just drain all your energy, and he doesn't appreciate anything or any of the sort. And when I have one of those people, I have to come home and I can't energize or talk to my wife or so much because I'm like, I need to recharge. But don't take it personal. Just know I have to recharge, and then in the morning I'm all right back to normal. So yeah, people come and go, but and some people will say, well, I have 5 kids, and I'm like, okay, well, understandable, but you can separate those. The wife can take 2 or 3, and then you can take the other one, so you can still allow other people to be part of that 5. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
where did you learn that philosophy, Clint? Where did that come from? What was the genesis of that?
To tell you the truth, it was myself.
Okay, so it's just something that one day you kind of thought about this and you're like, man, I'm spreading too thin, right? I'm trying to be all to everyone and I'm realizing I can't do that, right? So
Yeah,
I need to kind of make sure that I'm pouring into this small group because then they're getting the bulk of me, right? In
exactly.
that. And then of course we have little things,
You have you have a
of
yeah, you
course.
have 1,000 acquaintances, but
Yeah.
you have five. You have your five, and what's great is they have their five, and then their five might have their five. But the thing is that's how you spread like the peace, the tranquility, the love, and the happiness of everything. You know, because all in the end, all I ever want people to have is just joy and happiness in their life.
I love
So,
that.
yeah.
And you know what I'm thinking about? You know the book and the movie about the five people I met in heaven. You know that book, right?
No, never. I'm not a book reader.
Oh, well, there's a movie too. There's a movie. It's not a recent movie. It's got to
Yeah.
be. I don't even remember what year it came out, but I can picture the movie. And
Oh
there's a book
wow.
about the
Yeah.
five people I met in heaven. And so when
Really.
you said that, that was what was going through my brain. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful book. And it's about, if I remember it correctly, it's been a long time, but if I remember correctly, this gentleman worked like a blue collar job and he didn't think that he had a large impact in the world. And then
Yeah.
after he passed, he was able to see how large of an impact he made. And he showed five people that their lives were forever changed by the impact that he had by being in their lives.
That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful, beautiful story. So when
Yeah.
you're speaking of that, that's what I was thinking about because I'm like, yeah, that is true. That there are certain, and when I said about the pruning, and kind of, I realized that at this stage in my life, I've realized that it's okay that some people come, that you know what they say, some people come into your life for a reason, and some
Hmm.
people come into your life for a season. And
Very
that's
true.
perfectly fine. Like they had to teach us something, or we had to go through something, or they were there during a difficulty, or we had to learn. And that's wonderful. That was the whole reason why they were in our lives. But they weren't there like our spouse, right? Or our children that are
Yeah.
going to be there for our entire life, right?
So
So I love
true.
it.
So
Very,
true.
very philosophical, guys, for everybody out there. This was a deep conversation, but what Clint just said, think of the words he's choosing. He's choosing words like peace. He's choosing words like joy. He's choosing words of having that recharge when he's waking up. And with that, these are all lessons and things that we all need to be aware of because that protection of our energy is extremely important, extremely important. And Clint, I'm going to share
It
something
is.
that I actually
Yeah.
have not shared recently, but because you were invited to be on the podcast,
Hmm.
randomly reach out to people. Okay. And I really try to meet people I don't know. You and I have never met. This is the very first time we're meeting each other. Okay. The part I want to share, and this is absolutely like wild.
Okay.
Every
I'm
person I
excited.
get to meet, yes, and I
Yeah.
want you to really realize this. Every
Okay.
person I get to meet, and again, first time we're meeting, okay, never knew
Mhm.
each other before this moment.
Correct.
How is it that all the people that come on think just like you, which is exactly, I think, the same way as you? How is it that we are drawn together where we're similar mindset, even though we don't know each other? How does that happen?
I think because humanity in a whole, we all operate on in the same wavelength, and I really do believe that. Like we all kind of go through this transition of life where it's like, you're born, you're raised, or whatever, and you start making these choices in your life, and we go through the same process. We find somebody, we become their partner, we get married, we might have kids. Uh, sometimes we get divorced. Sometimes, it's all the same for most people. I will say 95% of the people. And when I've watched just public watching and stuff like that, it's crazy because in the first 15 seconds of meeting somebody, you can kind of feel their aura, whether I always say there's only two types of people in this world, and I hate to narrow it down, but there's two types. There's the victims And then there's the people that accept responsibility for their own decisions. And from day one, when my daughter was old enough to understand, I always told her, I said, when you go and you look at yourself in the mirror, you have two choices. You can either smile or you can be pissed off. But it doesn't matter what your decision is, you cannot blame anybody for your decision. And having a, and going into it with a smile and stuff like that. And then as she was being raised every morning, I made it a thing to always make her giggle at least 3 times before sending her off to school, because I just wanted it to start on a positive note. And spreading that, it's awesome, because you give people a different perspective. It's like children, you're guiding them. You're not sitting there with the no factor, like no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. You have to guide them, and you have to let them make their own decision. And that is a very hard thing for people to do. And I always express this to anybody that's going to become a new parent. Like, you have to let your kid talk to you about anything. If you tell them no on all sorts of different things, they can't talk to you anymore about it. There's no more guiding. You ended it, and like, so take sex for an example. I have a daughter, a 23-year-old daughter, and I had to speak to her about sex, and it's kind of like, how do you try to get them to understand certain things? So I told her at the age of 13 that, if she ever started to think about it or something like that, I wish she would come and tell me, because I want to get her on birth control, because I'd rather her tell me that she's maybe interested in sex rather than rather than she's pregnant and I had no idea she was even having sex.
Yeah.
Then you think, okay, well, I'm not condoning it, so what do I do in this aspect? So I thought, okay. So I told her, I said, the one thing about sex is you will always remember your first. I'm like, so you have to think of this choice. If you want to get drunk and lose it in the backseat of a car to a complete stranger, I'm like, that's fine. Guess what? That's the memory you get to live with for the rest of your life. Now, I happen to think your body is a temple and it's precious. And I said, and anybody that you're going to share it with deserves it. And so, and then that aspect, you just give them a different point of view. It's just, it's like that with everybody. My best friend, he was going through a really tough time with relationship status, and it's just kind of backing away from everything. It's okay. So when you get your 5, what's great is you can kind of back up and look at everything from an eagle eye perception, and you get to see like all the things that are happening in your life, and you get to go, I want a little bit more of this and a little bit less of that and a little bit more of this, and you create an atmosphere kind of that's all your own, and then you get to deal with the rest of the world, but you get to do it in a positive manner.
Agree. I love that. That's so I love, and I do think, although yes, it was a big scope.
Yes.
It kind of is 2 categories of people that say everything is my responsibility and I'm accountable for all of my decisions, or who can I blame because it has to be someone else's fault of this decision. So yeah. I think it's actually funny. I think 3 episodes ago that I recorded, that was the answer to of what their wisdom was, is to take accountability and responsibility for your decisions. Matter of fact, I think that episode went live today. So if you look at today's episode, I think it was the woman, because she said that once she learned that, her whole life changed. Because she was no longer blaming others. She was no longer coming up with the excuse of this person didn't give me the promotion, or that person held me back from going back to school, or whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter. We can all come up with the stuff. But at the end of the day, it's our life, right? And we have to, sometimes we're going to hit it spot on, and sometimes we're going to learn from that mistake we made. And that's okay.
Very true.
I love it.
Very true.
All right, Clint, the great conversation. Thank you so much. This was fabulous.
Yeah,
we end our podcast always with, I also believe that when you say something out loud, we are planting seeds. Going back to that planting again. We are planting seeds to things for the future to come. And so I like to take people into the unlimited mindset that if you had unlimited resource, unlimited knowledge, everything is available to you.
Yes.
What one thing would you do?
Customer service. So I'm already kind of starting this. I will tell you this whole journey as far as a mortgage loan originator. I have discovered that, well, and in life too, customer service has tanked, and it really has. So something that I'm striving to build is actually a customer service network, and
Okay.
I'm going to name it Service X. What this is I'm looking for one of each profession to be a part of this group. And what it is when, say, you're a plumber and you go and give service to somebody at their house if they're happy with your service. What I'm asking the person to do is hand them your business card and also hand them a business card that I'm creating. It's called Service X. And what you do is you just inform the person if you're happy with the service, you can go to a main website. It's a main hub page. And what I'm doing is I'm allowing consumers to go in there and they can find anything that they're looking for, knowing that they're going to be provided the same customer service that that they experienced and was turned on to it in the first place. And I believe that if you actually grow something like that, and that I don't the resources is a very difficult thing because you have to build websites and all sorts of stuff. But if I can get this group to grow to about 80 to 100 members, and someone of a consumer or a client was to be able to go onto this website and find a plumber, a a realtor, electrician, any service they knew, and they were going to be provided great service, I know it would really blow up. And I think they would start to refer their friends and family and everybody else that they knew to Service X. So be aware, it's going to start, and it's I'm going to start it in Orlando, Central Florida. So if you hear of a Service X in the next couple of months, that's us.
There we go. Clint has planted that seed. You've heard it here. Service X. It's the first announcement that we will continue to watch and celebrate you as it grows. Clint, thank you so much for being here with us. Please share, how can people learn more about you and get connected to you?
So I'm having a website built. It's called Service X Mortgage, service and then the letter X and then mortgage.com. And it's in transition, so it should be up in about a week. But they're more than welcome to reach me at Clint Carter at nexamortgage.com. But everything will be on that website as well. So yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, and please keep shining brightly.
Thanks, Laura. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it, honey. It was amazing.